There was a segment with Peter King and Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk, and Peter King was just not having it because Mike Florio is a nerd like everyone, and he has a lot of time to think about football. And he's one of those guys where he's like, I see Brock Purdy, and I just want to know if he's that guy who's going to make a throw in the Super Bowl, like a Josh Allen, like a Patrick Mahomes, like a Joe Burrow. And he just doesn't have the name is like Brock Purdy. He's like, I don't think of someone like Steve Young or Joe Montana and then Brock Purdy and think, oh, that's our franchise guy. And then he's always going to have that automatic skepticism because he was the last pick in the draft. And then people are just waiting for him to make these throws. And then some of his throws, that throw to Debo, it's really nice. And like,
Yeah.
I feel like he's a guy who has a really good feel for the game. You can see in his eyes that he's an absolute killer. And then with all of that happening, Peter King was just like, I don't care if his name is horse cow crap. Like, if he goes out there and balls out, it doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't. And he's like, Mike, I think you just have too much time to think. I think you need to sometimes turn your brain off, watch some old reruns of Gilligan's Island, and stop overthinking it. Because if a guy can play football, he can play football. And then the point I really liked with Peter King, he was like, you mentioned Josh Allen. Well, Josh Allen hasn't been to a Super Bowl. Josh Allen hasn't been in a moment where he could even make those throws.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's fair to Brock Purdy either because he's going to have this Mr. Irrelevant hanging over him until he wins the Super Bowl. But it's not like he wasn't right there. I mean, he was facing the Eagles and they were playing well, and then he destroyed his elbow. So it's not really his fault. And then in every big moment that he needed to step up, he has. So, you know, not everyone's going to be the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows, Trevor Lawrences of the world. And that's okay. But is Brock Purdy a top 10 quarterback? I think it's possible. I mean, there's a lot of great quarterbacks in this league, so the rankings are subjective.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if we're arguing for the 10th spot, which seems to be like, are you good or are you average or are you terrible?
Yeah.
He's got to be in the top 10 conversation. I mean, he should be at the top 10 with, you know, the Kirk Cousins of the world, the Dak Prescotts, the
Goffs.
You know, the Goffs of the world. These guys who, and two, you know, I think Tua belongs in that, but I think Tua is above all those guys. But, you know, conversation for the elite of the league.
Yeah.
I don't care about his weapons. Everyone has weapons.
Yeah.
Offensive line. He's got talent. That's awesome. That's why they're a great team. But he delivers, and that's what matters.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we choose guys to knock based on their weapons. Like no one chose to knock Patrick Mahomes because he had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Like no one knocked Tom Brady when he had Randy Moss. No one knocked Aaron Rodgers when he had Jordy Nelson, James Jones, and Greg Jennings and Jermichael Finley on that team, and a good running game and a great defense. It's like no one knocked Matt Ryan for having Julio Jones, Roddy White, and Tony Gonzalez. Why are we suddenly doing it because of guys like drafted last? Like, okay, wake me up when he loses a game, because so far he hasn't.
Yeah, exactly. When his elbow is intact, they are undefeated.
Yeah. And it's like if Dak Prescott again is getting bounced early in the playoffs and then Brock Purdy's in another conference championship.
What are we annoyed him? And he's a little bit more mobile too at this point. Maybe he doesn't have the as much of an arm strength, but he also doesn't throw it to the other team as much as Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
So there's got to be a conversation to be made. Is he a top 10 quarterback? And I think he's definitely in the runnings for it.